front with Jake.
Coach, just with Juwan Mitchell being out now, what's kind of the plan going forward, and just what are your thoughts on him, and have you spoken with him just about how brutal this is?
Yes, to the last part. Yeah, we speak to each other every day. Obviously, it's a loss. What I stated earlier, he's been banged up basically since we started camp. So we tried to obviously rotate to keep some of the pounding off of him, but it kind of got to a point of no return. So we tried to kind of decide what was best for Juwan and went ahead and had the surgery. So obviously it's a loss. He was one of the more experienced players we had, but he was basically playing with one arm, trying to obviously do the best he could for the program. But at the end of the day, I think we were going to hurt the program, hurt ourselves on defense, and possibly put him in a worse situation. So happy he got it done. Wish he was still a part, but yeah, he's in good spirits and understands it's going to be a long road back. But I think he understands this is going to make him even better next year going forward.
Brent and Austin.
Yeah, Coach, I'm just curious, what were your initial impressions of Aaron Beasley when you saw him in the spring in terms of how he fit, your linebackers, and then what do you like that he's doing now, and has any of that been a surprise to you in terms of production?
No, I was familiar with Aaron from high school. I know he was played a lot of running back. He was an athletic kid coming out of high school, so I had a little bit of knowledge of him. And when he was in spring, I thought he did a good job. We actually asked him to move to a different position, which was a little different for him. I guess I'm looking for the best word to say it, because he was more of a Mike. I know he was a backup, and we asked him to play Will actually in the spring because Jeremy Banks wasn't available. So he kind of jumped into that. And then just through progression and because of the way the numbers worked out, we had to move him to Mike this fall. So he's a kid that, I think his best football is still ahead of him. I tell you that because he's had to play basically all three linebacker spots for us. When we do play our base defense and we have our three linebackers on the field, he's also the sand. So he's one of the guys that we count on as far as getting us lined up, and he's one of the few veteran guys that we can even call him that has a little bit of game experience and really helps us keeps us on task and keeps us where we feel like we gives us a chance, best chance to win on defense.
What do you think he's doing best right now?
Making tackles. I mean, like I said, I tell that story. I think in his own way, he does provide a little bit of leadership. He's not a big talker, but he's more of a common influence, for our room and probably for the defense because of his personality. So I think that is the biggest factor. He doesn't get flustered and kind of doesn't get out of sorts when things aren't going well. And I think we need that at times. And like I said, he's made plays, when they presented themselves, and he's done a good job there. But I would say his number one, probably the thing that he's doing the best is keeping us calm and providing some leadership.
Coach Heupel spoke about, Aaron Willis starting to travel with the team on road games and that type of thing. Would he be the fourth backer at this point, or is that Garland? Who would it be?
It's still up in the air. As we did before Juwan, we're rotating, guys, and we want to make sure we put the guy in that's going to give us the best chance to win, whether that be Aaron Willis, whether that be Pat Garland or William Mohan. All three of those guys are kind of all rotating. They're all practicing well. And, if that situation did present itself, I should say, I feel like all three of those guys would give us an opportunity to win. But I don't think either one of them has separated themselves to be that fourth linebacker that we would put in definitely.
Patrick and Ben.
Coach, kind of following up on that, you talked early in the year about wanting to keep guys fresh and playing those four guys, but the way Jeremy and Aaron and Solar are playing right now, do you feel like you need to have a fourth guy, or do you guys feel good?
It's the SEC. In one play, you could go from 3 to 2. So we always want to have, the goal is always to have 5 ready to play just because of the nature of injuries, especially with the collisions that you're going to have in this conference. And, we rotated 3 yesterday on Saturday, down from 4. But we always want to have those guys prepared to play. The last thing you want to do is get caught where you might have 1 or 2 guys go down. I've been in games where we've had 3 guys go down in one game, and the opponent they don't care. You know what I mean? They're going to go attack the weakness. So you want to make sure you have guys that are at least serviceable, that can go out there and run the defense and give you, the best chance to win.
It looks like Jeremy's been getting better week to week and even getting to the quarterback a little more often when he's been able to blitz. How have you seen him progress? And then with the personal fouls, he had a 2-game stretch there where he was good, but then had one this past Saturday. What's that conversation been like with him?
The personal fouls, which we've talked about, it has to go away. We basically, stated if the personal fouls don't go away, we can't put them in the game. Those are going to be the difference in games when we're in tighter games, and we just can't do that. Those 15-yard penalties, lead to scoring drives and really take the momentum away from us. So we have to eliminate those. Besides that, I think he's been a little bit more under control, as far as making tackles, breaking down and, being in good balance. The one thing with Jeremy, he's going to play hard, but sometimes when he plays hard, he's a little out of control and kind of out of whack where he ends up on the ground a lot. And I think he's been better at that the last couple of weeks.
Jimmy, then Wes.
Coach, Brandon Turnage should not really play a great deal. Then he gets 14 tackles. He's the SEC Defensive Player of the Week. That surprise you?
No, I can't say it surprises me. Well, I'm gonna take that back. Of course, it surprised me. But I must say I've seen the kid. I've seen the work ethic he's put in, and one of the guys that I think is one of the unsung heroes, Theo Jackson, knew he wasn't gonna play, or there was a good chance he wasn't. He worked with Brandon, every day and every night, watched film with him, and really helped prep him. So that's when you have a good teamwork. And you have a brotherhood on your team, because Theo knew how much we were going to need him this game if he didn't play. So I have to give Theo a lot of credit. But Brandon's a very, very talented, kid. And we always say, when your opportunity comes, you never know when it's going to come. So make sure you stay prepared. And Brandon was a great example about that. So to answer your question, I was surprised, but I wasn't surprised. Yes, sir.
Brian, when you look at the way Ole Miss plays the game, I know no 2 offenses are exactly identical, but there's a couple of common denominators there with the staffs and with the systems. How much is that something that maybe for your defense and for Ole Miss defense helps this week a little bit, because that kind of tempo, y'all might be some of the only people who practice against it on a daily basis.
Yeah, there is a lot of carryover. Obviously, from going against our offense in the spring and in fall camp, we feel like we should be prepared for the tempo. But it's always a different animal when you have to go against it in a game. And there are a lot of similarities, but there are some major differences also, just in the way that they run the ball and some of the pass game. The tempo is similar, but they have their kind of go-to plays, and we have our own on offense. So we have to do a good job of separating what we've done against our offense compared to what Ole Miss, obviously how they attack people.
And with Corral specifically, how much some of those plays he makes are obviously not plays that you wouldn't want to coach a guy probably to do that. I know you're a defensive guy, but you probably wouldn't want to coach a guy to do that. Yeah. But he's got the talent and the awareness to make those things happen. How much does that stress the defense even more? It's
unbelievable stress on the defense. Watching him, and I know he gets a lot of praise and media coverage for the way he's played. But when you watch him on the coach's tape, it's well deserved. He's a complete quarterback, doesn't make any mistakes. He doesn't have any interceptions this year, which tells how much he's taking care of the football this year. He makes the right reads, and he's super athletic kid. I think there was a play we watched versus Arkansas where he runs through an arm tackle of probably one of Arkansas's better, defenders. So it tells you about his athleticism, and he's super impressive throwing the ball. So we know we have our work cut out for us.
Vince, then Brent.
During the season, what do you guys do in terms of tackling thud, or how do you guys handle that during the season, knowing that you guys don't have the most depth on either side of the ball?
We handle a lot of the full speed tackling. We handle that mainly in individual. You know, going into game 7, we have to be careful about tackling each other just because of the nature of injuries, and you know, a lot of guys are banged up. But we definitely still make that a big point of emphasis in tackling. A lot of thud tackles where, you know, we're going to coach them up to make sure, you know, they're in the proper position, wrapping up, feet aren't, and the body's in the, you know, proper position. But you know, it's hard to go full speed, you know, live tackling at this point just because of our numbers. And you know, like you said, we want to make sure we stay away from injuries. But it's still a big point of emphasis. That's still the basis of everything we do on defense.
Brent?
Coach, how do you think your linebackers have played in pass coverage and in space over the last few weeks compared to when we were at the start of the year?
I think we're getting better. You know, obviously, you know, we've gotten our hands on a couple balls the last couple weeks. It can always, you know, be better. I'm always, when you ask those questions, I always think of the ones we do wrong, but I have to catch myself and say we were in position probably, you know, a couple times the last couple of games a lot better than we were earlier. So I think we're getting better. Obviously, we're very multiple on defense, so the stress a lot of times is on the backers as far as with the play action passes and, you know, with the tight ends and the backs coming out of the backfield. So we have to do a great job and be disciplined in our pass drops. But I feel like we've gotten a lot better over the last couple of weeks, and we really haven't changed what we've done. The linebackers have just been a lot better. But this week will be a big-time challenge. They do a great job of getting the ball to the tailbacks, you know, out of the backfield and throwing it to the tight ends.
Last question, Rick, in the back.
Hey, Coach, we were talking to Coach Burns about the quick starts that the offense is getting off to. He said part of that is them feeding off the defense. Talk about how the two sides can energize each other.
That's kind of the way this team has been structured from the day one when Coach Heupel got here and we were together as a team. He says it's one. And when the defense is going well, the offense is going to feed off of it because we're getting them back the ball. When the offense is going well and they're scoring points, the defense is going to feed off of it because now they know that offense that we're going against is going to have to speed up what they're doing, and they have the stress of trying to score and match us on offense. And we add special teams to that also. When those guys are flying down on kickoffs and punts and, you know, getting big returns on, you know, kickoff return and punt return, it energizes the entire team. But that's the way this team is structured, and, you know, you can really see guys really starting to buy into what, you know, what Coach Heupel and our staff envisions, because it's truly a team, you know, it's a team aspect that I'm not saying they didn't have before, but you can see it growing. And just sitting on the sideline with the guys when we're trying to draw up defensive plays, their eyes are on the jumbotron because they know something good's about to happen. And you listen to the offensive coaches, and they say the same thing as far as when the defense is on the field. They're having a hard time keeping their guys focused on what they're trying to adjust because they're so excited about what's going on. So it's a good feeling. Obviously, we want them to still focus on our adjustments on the sideline, but you can tell that they're really enjoying what we're doing.